Hello everybody, my name's Tiffany, I'm the Tipsy Artist, and we are going live today to paint beautiful fireflies in a mason jar. Alright, so let me show you the model first. It's called Be the Light. Be the Light. Very fun. And my mom sent me a meme, I think it was yesterday, and it said, let's see if I can get this right. If the Lord can light up the butt of a bug, then just imagine what he can do in your life. So that's the good word for the day, y'all. So just imagine how your life can be lit up. All right, so we always have a positive message here, and that's today's positive message brought to you by the Tipsy Artist. All right, so now this is our trace, so let's go ahead and talk about that. All right, so beautiful mason jar, fireflies, little stars in the sky to start with. We make it super fun and easy. We have either a trace available on the website or beautiful little template here. So that's a start. And then let me show you the beautiful kit that we have too. All this can come in the mail to you. Yippee! So again, we make it super fun and easy. And then what I did here is I always encourage you to first start with pencil if you want, and then you can also follow up with a Sharpie to really re-emphasize these lines and make them pop out. Hello Tammy, hello Kathy, and hello everybody else that's out there who I cannot see. Y'all have a beautiful day. All right, so here we go. We're going to get started. And I want to start with all the light colors first. We're going to actually do the black at the very end. That way we won't have any of that black interfering with the brightness of all of our light and bright colors. So I'm going to start with the beautiful turquoise in the beginning here. You know what? I forgot to talk about supplies. Let me do that real quick. All right, so I've got my water out. Love, love, love. I see lots of love out there. I love y'all too. We have our brushes already out, and I have either a paper towel or I call this like a bar mop or just a hand towel. And then I've got some paint out on a paper plate. So that's all ready to go. All right, so I'm going to start by mixing up a little bit of this beautiful turquoise color. Hi, Megan. All right, so here we go. I'm going to get some Viridian. Super in love with this color right here. It's beautiful. So it has a really nice, like a teal color to it. So I'll start with that. This is Viridian. And then, let's see, what else? I want some primary cyan, blue, and then some white. And I already have that on my plate, so I'm just going to push into that here in a moment. All right, so I'm going to grab my Mama brush. This is Mama. By the way, let me introduce you to my little family here. All right, so this is Mama, this is Little Buddy, and this is Little Bit. All right, so here we go. We're going to grab a dollop of the white, just like that. And then I'll mix this with a little bit of that Viridian and then a little bit of that cyan blue. So we're going to push all of those together. I'll actually just see how I'm taking the brush and I'm just kind of grabbing into each one of those, and I'll just keep blending those until I like it. I need this to be a lot lighter, so I'm going to push in more white. Hello again, Deborah from West Virginia. Yay! Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yes, and I'm learning every day too, so that means y'all will keep learning every single day. Yeah, we keep trying new things around here. All right, so here we go. We're doing turquoise. I'm also, oh, I better pay attention. My black is about to run into all my beautiful turquoise. I'm gonna switch it this way for a moment. All right, so again, turquoise is going to be some Viridian and some blue and some white. Or if you're at home and you have just some real basic colors, turquoise can also be made with just like a cobalt blue, a green, and white. So basically, any of those color combinations works, and it's just about 3 equal parts on that. But I am going to make mine pretty light. So I'm going to add a lot more white here, and that's kind of getting to where I want it to be. I need a little bit more green, so here's what I'm going to do. I've got some really pretty bright yellow green here. Yeah, I'm going to warm this up a little bit. It's looking a little bit too blue, so I want it to be a little bit different. And there's not like a real hard, fast rule on this. This is just really my mood for the day. So turquoise is just all over the place. Even in real life, the color turquoise literally is just all over the place in terms of how you see it. Even the stones themselves can't make up their minds. They have a big variety. So today, this is what I want, my turquoise that I want right here. All right, so I've got my mama brush all loaded up, and I will go ahead and start to paint around this outside edge. Oh, and I'm noticing a picture over here. That's why I put it up here. I didn't want to forget. Do y'all see this young man? Isn't he handsome? This is my son. He turns 17 today. Can you believe that? I almost can't. But yes, say happy birthday, Hawkins. This is Hawkins. He turned 17. So I will show him this video later. He doesn't ever watch these. But so this is my motive. This is the way I'm going to motivate him to come and watch. So this way, if he gets a little bit of FaceTime, see, then he might actually come over here and watch it. But yes, so my son is 17 years old. Oh, man, children. And then, let's see, 3 days ago, my daughter turned 21. Guess what she's doing right now? Well, maybe not right now, but you know. So yes. And then the irony is, she did not go indulge in the whole, because she's not going to bars right now, as you can just imagine why, with everything happening in the world. No, she's being safe, and then she just waited. She's being very responsible. I have a very responsible, lovely daughter. She is going up north and going camping with her friends, and they are going to drink responsibly, but she's not even going to get the opportunity to buy alcohol. Well, maybe, here's what I bet they'll make her do. I bet they'll make her go in and actually buy it for everybody. That's what they're going to do, probably, since she won't be able to go to a bar. So she's just going to, you know, drink with a small group of her friends. They're all being very careful, and I'm so proud of her. But yeah, she just turned 21. Can you believe I have children that age? Sometimes I wake up and I go, oh my gosh. Yeah, it seems like just yesterday they were in my arms. So yes, this is birthday week around here. We've got my daughter that just turned 21 and my son that turned 17. So it's a beautiful week of celebration here. And hello, more people. Hello, Sammy. Hello, Deborah. Hello, Vince. And that's all I can see. And hello to everybody else out there who's watching. All right, so let's continue talking about all this beautiful turquoise color that we have. Okay, so I mixed it up, blue, green, and white, or with our pack, Viridian, cyan blue, and white. I am now using my mama brush to paint with. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this brush over to the side to go ahead and fill into the shape. When I did my cut-in work around the line edge, I held it more like a pencil to go ahead and fill around that shape. We are about to do some cut-in work around some very tiny little fireflies, very cute. So I'm using the flat side of my brush as much as possible to fill into the shape, just as much as I can, but here in a moment I will have to switch over to a much smaller brush to go ahead and do the cut-in work because we have lots of tiny little curves there, so I will need my little bit brush. This is all going to be gray up here at the top, but for right now I'm just going ahead and doing all this turquoise at the very tip top that I can. And that's just about far enough. I'll do a little bit of an overlap with some gray here in a moment. Get as close to these little guys as I can. All right, I'm about to have to put Mama in the water. Okay, so But right now, I never want to leave my brushes just out, because they will harden and dry, and they will be no longer brushes but little tiny sticks for y'all, so don't do that. I just put them in the water and they're okay until I can get a chance to rinse them out completely later. So I'm going to come in now with my little bit brush, and I will do a quick little twist here into the paint. Kind of twist it into a nice fine point. Ta-da! There it is. All right, so this is my little bit brush, and now I'm going to work in and around these tiny little delicate edges around the little firefly. Take that curve all the way around. All right, and now this one. And again, this is a real natural hold, real easy for us. Yay! Oh, okay, so I'm thinking your name is spelled like, or pronounced Carolyn, like Carolyn. You let me know if I get it right. But howdy, yes, and I'm so glad. All right, so I hold it just like a pencil, and I go ahead and just do all the cutting work all the way around the edges. And then when I go to feather this out a little bit, that will become a little bit more of a thoughtful hold on the brush that will take a little bit more concentration. So I'll tell you what I mean by that here in just a second. Okay, so again, holding it like a pencil really doesn't require a lot of thought. We all do that naturally. Now we want to feather it out a little bit. We want a lighter hand. So I'll take that same brush, and then I want to go ahead and just lay it over on the side. And then that will give me a nice feathering out of that stroke. So that'll help me blend back into it. So it's just more parallel to the canvas. Yay! Hi, Amber. Well, thank you. Yes, you do hear waves crashing in the background. All right. And now I'm going to use Mama. So Mama comes in. So I need a little bit more of a feathering out here. So I did, let's talk about rinsing her out real quick. All right, so I have my lovely pail of water here. And as I go to make her clean, I gave her a bath. So here's how I do that. I push her into the water, apply some firm pressure, spin her around and around and around, and that helps release that paint. And then I just keep checking until she runs completely clear, and then I go ahead and dry her off. And then she's just moist, just perfect for applying paint. All right, so that's how we do that. Then I need to make sure I blend some of this back out again into the background of the mason jar. So I picked up a little bit more of that turquoise, and then I just kind of lightly feather this out in the background. See, I was seeing a little bit of those tiny little lines from the smaller brush. So I was noticing some transparency in those brush strokes. So now I'm trying to smooth that out and blend that all into this jar, into the larger area. So as I do that, I do a little stroke here where I kind of like crisscross it back and forth. So I'll do that all over the surface area to help work that back in. And for right now, I'm happy with just the solid color of the turquoise. I will definitely be coming back in to make some accents of color later. I'm getting a lot of white there. That's all right. So softly blend this in. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I am picking up a few different mixes. The color changed so much as I mixed it up that some areas were darker and some were lighter, and some were a bit more teal and some were turquoise. So I'm discovering that as I'm reworking this into the surface area, but I'm actually just embracing that and just feathering that back out with that light little X stroke, just cross stroke back and forth. Just letting that variety of color work for me. All right, beautiful. So that's a great start there. Howdy! 9-year-old granddaughter Gabrielle is painting with you today. Wonderful. Hi, Donna. Hi, Gabrielle. She will love it. That is actually when my daughter first started to go to shows with me. She would travel all over. We had so much fun. Yeah, great age, great age. All right, so I've got all my turquoise done here. Let me go ahead and do the gray on the top of the mason jar. So this is a really easy mix of just white and black. So I will pick up a larger dollop of the white, and then I'll just barely touch into a little bit of that black. Mix those two together. That gives me a light gray. If you want to make it darker, you can. That's just a darker charcoal gray there. All right, so I will position this into the top of my mason jar here. And I'm going to take this all the way down until that little ridge happens, that little bump right there. I'll take it all the way down until that area, just to help keep it real simple. And then I'll show you something kind of fun here too. So I'll barely touch into the black, and I'll push that in as it's still wet, and that makes just a nice little blended line work, almost like the line work of the metal that happens in the top of that lid there. So it's a nice fun blend in there. Now I'm going to come into a little bit more of that black, and I'll go ahead and just make that line all the way across the bottom. I will have black all the way around this shape here, so even if you extend your stroke beyond the shape of the mason jar, all good. The black in the background will cover all that up. All right. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so now what I need to do are my yellow stars. Okay, fresh plate, because I wasn't watching what I was doing, and oops, that yellow's not, that's not gonna work. That's gonna get crazy. Okay, so we've got some primary yellow, and mine is brand new, so we'll take off this lovely top here. Protects it in the mail, which is wonderful. Do a little bit of that. So primary yellow to begin with, and then let's grab some, I want to brighten this up even more with some cadmium yellow. Okay, and then I need my little bit brush. That's the smallest brush that I've got. Yeah, and tell Gabrielle to put some, you'll have to tell me how to say it. Is it long A, short A? You can say in the comments, but Gabrielle or Gabrielle? I don't know, so let me know. So do a mix here of cadmium yellow, primary yellow, but at any rate, tell her to put in the comments, maybe post a picture of her work. I'd love to see it. All right, so let's get back to this mix here. This is primary yellow, cadmium yellow, and we're gonna mix that together. That is a beautiful bright yellow color. This will be our star. You can also add a little bit of white to this too if you wanna lighten it up and make it a bit lighter. So a little touch of the white. Show you what that looks like. Really bright. All right, that is very lovely. All right, so a little bit brush, and then I will use the end of the brush to come into all the edges. And I can be pretty loose with the line work on this too, because again, I will be cutting in with black here in a moment. so I don't have to worry too much. And then I'll just kind of softly go over this with the flat side of the brush, and that way I have to hold the brush more over to the side. Now when I do come in later and cut in with my black, then I'll have to worry about being a bit more precise. But for right now, I can be a little bit sloppy and just have fun. And I always try to encourage you to have as much sloppy, good fun as you can while you paint. Short A, okay, awesome. So I think that the therapeutic part of the painting process is super important. And so as much as possible, we try to allow for that. And then, you know, at some point we have to tighten up a little bit. Do some, you know, some fine details. Unless, of course, you're doing an abstract painting. And then you can just, you know, just be very free during the entire process. All right, so I've got lovely, bright, sloppy stars. Yay! All right, so here we go. We've got the basic color foundation down. I do need to put in my brights here in the little bums of the fireflies. All right, if you missed it earlier, my mom sent me a meme. We send each other memes every day to show our encouragement for one another. I do this with my mom, and well, I do it with my whole family and some friends. And she said, if God can put a light in the bum of a firefly, then he can do anything for you. So that's what I'm holding on to today. That's the good word of the day. So we're painting that miracle of light in the bum of a firefly. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah, little miracles right there, there, and there. And then the other night out in the backyard, we had fireflies everywhere, and I was so excited. And I kept saying, fireflies, fireflies, fireflies. And my husband said, he was making fun of me, and he goes, okay, Mary. And Mary would be my mom, because my mom is crazy. Every time she sees cardinals and fireflies and deers and, you know, wildlife of any kind, she yells and screams, and it's as if she's seen a magical creature that doesn't exist. It's as if she's seen a unicorn in the yard or something. It's crazy. She just goes nuts for it. And even if she's not with us, she'll send me pictures of it in her yard. She's just freaking out. So I said, yeah, I'm turning into my mom. It's okay. All right. It's okay to think everything is magical. It's wonderful. All right, so we have our beautiful light in our fireflies and in our stars. And now we need to do just a lot of black. We have to bring in the darkness of the sky, which will create this beautiful contrast of light. So now I'm going to switch back over to the Mama brush. Push into that black. All loaded up, all ready to go. So what I like to do now is I like to go ahead and use the line edge of the brush, hold it like a pencil, let that long line do the work for you, and you can just push that all the way around. Now if that makes you super nervous, we talked about another little trick here. Ruler. Oh wait, oh there it is. So, trick and then cautionary tale. Fairies, yes! That's right. So you can hold this ruler right, that edge, and then you can actually, in fact I'll just show you right here. So there's the edge line. And you can hold that brush, see, all the way down. See how that gave me a perfect line like that? But here's the trick, here's the cautionary tale with that. you don't want to move this to another side and use it without first completely drying it off and checking to make sure that there's no wet black paint on there. Otherwise, you will put a big black mark right in the middle of your mason jar, so you don't want that to happen. But this is certainly a little trick that you can use to make big long lines of black or any color that you need to when you're painting. All right, so now, yeah, speaking of fairies, my mom has a bunch of fairies on her land. She's got 10 acres out in the country. So she has fairies out there. And they've been coming to visit my children for years. It's pretty magical. All right, so real quick, let's talk about cut-in work and then working into the background, and then I'll talk about fairies. Okay, so I'm taking my Mama brush, and I've got my line edge still nice and thin. I applied some firm pressure to get that nice thin line edge. There we go. So I will take this around that shape. All right, so there's my cut-in work. Okay. So I had to be really precise and careful on that. And then you need to relax and have fun and then work into the background. So you do these little cross strokes just back and forth, and that will give your sky some really nice texture. So again, just work that back and forth in there. Try to avoid long lines like that because you will see those later, and they can actually create a little bit of transparency in your paint, and you'll see that brush stroke later. So I always encourage people to take the brush, push it into the paint, and then just little letter X's just back and forth. Now we still have a little bit of some detail work to do, so I'll go ahead and knock that out first. Little lines all the way around the stars here. So I do want to be careful with those. And then here in a moment we'll be able to relax a little bit more and just do lots of those letter X's everywhere, which is a really free and relaxing process. So that's why I like to just go ahead and knock this out first. So I know that looks a little strange at first, but since we're just going to work in all this black into the background, you're not going to see this for very long. It will disappear. And please notice how I'm using the line edge of the brush to do a lot of that work for me. So very handy little tool. Some people grab a small brush to do lines like that in there because they think it'll be easier, but as much as you can, it's easier to try to grab a bigger brush to let that long line edge do as much of the work for you. When you want to grab the small brush is when you come in for a tight curve. That's when you have to grab the small brush. We're almost home free to have fun with just lots of little X's, that very therapeutic painting. All right, so see, I've done my cut-in work, so now I can just have a little bit more fun and relax. So I turn my brush now, I hold it differently, more over to the side. This gives me a light, gentle hand. And then come in with lots of repetition, little tiny X's over and over again. As much as you can all over the surface area. Alright, so we'll just keep filling in all this black. I'm also careful to hit it on the edges little slight overlap on the edges. Let's have a little word about that too. You do not have to paint the side of the canvas if you do not want to, because you can always frame it and it won't matter. If you are going to have it just be raw and hanging on the wall as is though, I do encourage you to go ahead and paint the sides, in which case you can go ahead and extend that paint all the way over to the side of the canvas. But I always make sure I do a tiny little overlap so that even if you do put a frame on it, you won't see any white that peekaboos around the edge. See, there's already a little bit of white that would show through even in a frame. So I'm real careful to at least do a little bit of an overlap to the side. All right, looking better. And really, to get the base, you almost want to make sure towards the end, turn the canvas to where you can get all the edge work done too. Hi, Lo. Oh, miss you too. I know. Yeah, I was thinking about you and how I was going to need some help, hopefully for an Alta show, and that whole Alta slotting area. And then they sent out a bunch of state of emergencies are cracking down and shutting everything down again. So, you know, cheers, see you online. For sure be here with you. So, you know. But yeah, I hope y'all are doing well. All right, so we are going to continue our little X's in here. And don't forget your edge work around the sides. All right, and then a little word about fairies. So many fun fairy stories. But yeah, my mom has, yeah, absolutely, underground Tipsy Artist Party. That's right. So my mom has this big, like a ranch in Norman. It's big to me, 10 acres. That's a lot of land. That's more than I ever want to mow. So, but on her property, she's got all these little fairy homes that are out there. And so for years when we go out there to visit, all these mysterious notes are always from the fairy people. And they're always there for my children. So my children have always grown up knowing that fairies are real. And if you don't believe me, then you can just go out to that land out in Norman and you'll find all the fairy homes and you'll see all their fairy notes and you'll know that they are alive. It's true. And then I've got a really, I think it's cool anyway. I wrote a fairy book for my daughter. And it's called Their Fairy Must Be You. But I pretty much had to, considering how we've all been raised around fairies. So, fairies and unicorns. So if you're wondering where they all are, they're all in, well, I don't know about all of them, but we have some in Norman, Oklahoma. And my mom lives really close to Toby Keith. So if you're wondering where Toby Keith gets his magic from, it's from my mom's land, and she has all these unicorns and all these fairies out there. So, true story. All right, lots of little baby X's here. Almost getting our sky done. This is looking great. I love it. This is one of those really favorite paintings to do. Just because it's always so easy and it always really works out well for people that paint it in class. So that's a big reward factor for me, is if I watch a lot of people do something and I watch them have success and feel really good about what they accomplished. So I've never been real big on just painting for the sake of showing off and doing things that others can't do. Not judging that. It's wonderful when people can do that. It is. My husband does it all the time. Like, he does stuff all the time and I'm like, not worthy, can't do that, moving on. But for me and what I do, I get a lot of pleasure out of watching others accomplish things. So I love it when I have created something that is also easily created by others. So that is it's definitely a component of success with what I do. All right, so I am still blending out my sky here. Little crisscrosses back and forth. All right, way to go. Way to go, way to go. Keep telling yourself that too as you paint. Just, you know, give yourself a little pat on the back. Go, way to go, me. Okay, so this is awesome. I have little stars, I have fireflies, I've got a mason jar, I've got a lid. While I still have the black, I'm going to do a little bit more firm pressure here with my mama brush, and I'm going to do just a few little lines. They'll go right across here. Just that fun little reference. Now I'm going back into a little bit of white. I want to do one more just light gray right at the base. A little bit more white. All right, now I need to go ahead and wash off. Good morning, Rhonda. I'm gonna wash off my mama brush here. And I'm gonna give this black a little bit more dry time because we need to put in some grass. And then we also need to put in some white details up in the sky, but my black needs some setup time. It needs to dry a little bit. And then for the sake of painting a line, you don't have to do this. This is me trying to get it to dry faster, so I'm going to kind of lightly go over this with a dry brush, kind of just picking up any excess there. All right, cool, cool. Okay, so now detail work over the top. I'm going to work in now with my little bit brush, and then white paint. We'll touch into that white, and I'm going to do some fun little sketches around the sides here, just following the same line, just like a little echo. Soft curve. Take this all the way around. And then while this is still wet, I'm going to work back into this with a little bit more of that turquoise. Do a soft blend into that. Little sauteed again, still using my little bit brush. Right now we're just working back and forth with a little bit of white, a little bit of turquoise. And getting a nice soft fade between the two. Then I'm going to do just a few little like squigglies of white light that will come over this too. So I'll do little sketches of white as well. Light hand on this. Little sketches, a few more little sketches of white. And see, now I'm going to do that little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Hello, Mom. My mom is Mary Preston, and she is on there. That's my mommy. Everybody say hi, Mom. All right, so now I'm going to do that little wiggle. I've got white. Wiggle, and then pull out from that. So that's a fun little sketch on there. And then let's do another one here. Wiggle, and then kind of pull that out. And then I've got a little bit of a line coming. This is like a soft parentheses line that comes in the background for the other side of the jar. Now I also have like little flight lines that come around my little firefly. Mom, you missed my lesson for the day. Hi, Clay. I said that if God can put a light in the bum of a firefly, then he can work any miracle for you. All right, so now little flight lines. So these are going to look like little parentheses. So little parentheses, 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 parentheses. Isn't that cute? And then we're going to have a few little lights, rays of light coming from the miraculous bum of a firefly. All right, wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of white into the wing here, just to give a nice painterly effect. Little touch. And a few more little sketches of white. All right, and then I want a few more little sketches of white up here at the top too. And that went down a little too far. I'm going to push black back into that. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to do, well, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Hello. All right, so I need to do little bits of white around my stars. Say, oh, my stars. Okay. It's still really wet up there. I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to put that off until this has more dry time. I am going to do black outline on my fireflies. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, because we still have grass to do. We still have work to do up here at the top. So I did this with Sharpie here in the beginning, but now I need to firm up that black line. Now here's some options for you. To keep it really, really simple at home, you can just let all this set up and dry, and you can use your Sharpie and come back in and do a firm line. The trick is, though, you have to make sure that your paint is completely dry, or else you will kill your Sharpie, and we hate it when that happens. All right, I'm just doing a nice little fine line all the way around. This is my little bit brush. Pushing it into the black paint, I do a little twirl. That'll give me a nice fine point. Well, now you're here, so now you're taking a class. Isn't that awesome? This is like really up close and personal too. Do you ever get that feeling that you need to upgrade your reading glasses? I think I need to go up to a 2.5. I'm at a 2.25 right now, and I'm like, I don't know. Not quite doing the job. You youngins don't know what I'm talking about yet, but it's real. All right, here's another black line around here. We got one more, and then I have a fun little trick for the head of the firefly. We're going to use our handle to use the circle end. Yeah, I kind of go crazy and I load up a bunch of choices. She said I love all the pictures and I'm not sure which one to pick. Because we have, I think I have 150 designs up so far, so that's a lot. All right, so there's my outline. I still need to work on the cute little heads up top. Thank you. Hi, Stacy. I know, I need to. I usually order them from Amazon, but Dollar Tree is another good way to go. Yeah, I noticed when I was looking at this, it was a little bit blurry, and I thought, well, that's not good. So, all right, so I've got my handle now, and you see how on the end there's a big circle? So I'm going to take that brush handle, and then I'm going to push it down into the black paint. And now check that out. See how it's got a nice little circle on the end? So then I will push straight forward, give some firm pressure, twist a little bit, and that makes for a perfect tiny little head for our fireflies. Isn't that wonderful? This is also a really fun way to do a polka dot pattern. All right, but it sure is easy. Okay, so let me tell you why this is so good to do this with the end of the brush. Because if you do try to paint on little circles, they have a tendency to grow and get real big on you. So using the handle to just, poke on little circles is really a nice, fun way to make them all uniform and all the same size. All right, so we have all of our details done now. Oh, you know what? I want to do some yellow circles. This is going to be exciting. Okay, so another brush handle. See the end? I'm going to go into yellow this time. See? Just like that. And then this time I want little dots of light. Coming around my little fireflies here. So I'll sprinkle a few of these around too. And we'll do one more up there. Awesome. Okay, so we've got that done. All right, now let's do grass next. All right, so here we go. We have our mama brush now, and we need to do grass. And I'm going to show off my son one more time. It's my son's birthday today. Look at him. He's so handsome. That's Hawkins. All right, now let's do some grass. So we need, where is it here? Cadmium green. I will pull that up so you can see it. All right, so I've got my cadmium green, and then I want a little bit, I still have some on my plate here, that cadmium yellow, but I want to make sure and get more. Thank you so much. I'm going to make him come back and watch this later. All right, and then, what else? Oh, let's do this. Bright yellow green. And then we probably still have a little bit of this wet black happening here. Sometimes I put a little black as a shadow, but I will not have to worry about that, I don't think, because I still see some wet, and I think it'll work just fine with just that. But I'm going to take my mama brush and press into that cadmium green, into the cadmium yellow, and into that bright green yellow. And I am going to start at the base and pull straight up. And I'll work all this all the way across, even a little bit of white. I'm actually going to grab a little bit of white over here. That will help cover better too. So yeah, that white, well, I needed that. The white really helped make that cover. Yeah, that was the money right there. I forgot about that. So let's grab a lot more white, bright yellow, green, cadmium yellow. And then we'll keep starting at the base. See how I'm using the line edge of the brush to get a nice thin blade of grass? So we'll start at the base and then just kind of pull straight up and then lift off with a light hand. And I am, fortunately, still getting a lot of that wet black in the background, and it is providing the perfect shadow, which is really nice. So just lots of repetition on this, and again, just pull up from the base. Had some yellow up there too, and that's kind of nice, so I'll just go ahead and pull that into the mix. Actually, I'm really kind of digging on all that yellow in there. We'll come back over this with a bit more green here in a moment, but I'm liking the vibrant yellow coming through, and a lot of white. We're going to start with that as a base. A lot of white, a lot of yellow. Now let's go back into that green. And that is looking really pretty now. Want to get some better coverage up over the bottom of that mason jar so that so that you don't see it in the background. A little bit more green over here. All right, really pretty. So that's a great first stroke, and then as you get this dried up, you can also come back over it with more vibrant greens over the top. It will need a little bit more setup and dry time though, and then you can always work in a second layer and get brighter greens over the top as well. But for right now anyway, it still looks like it's got some really pretty bright greens while also just having little shadows happening in the background as well. Alrighty, beautiful green. Okay, so we have our grass. Now we need to do some of those accents over the top. We've done just about as much as we can, so we let all of this set up and dry in the background. So that's good. I needed that to happen so that I could put in all of the beautiful little white accents in our sky. So I'm going to come back in with my little buddy brush. Poor little buddy, he hasn't even used it all so far, but we're going to use him now. And so I'm going to take my little buddy brush and we're going to use that white paint, and I'll just dip right into the white paint, just like that. And this will be what I use to make little tiny, like, it's going to feel like making a dash. So we'll make little dashes that come out from our star. So I start closer to the star and then just pull away from the star. And I'll do this all the way around. Now I'm seeing a little bit of some wet paint here, so I'm going to give this a little bit of a wipe. At home, you don't have to worry about that. You can actually just let it dry and just be patient with the process. All right, little line coming out. So it's a real cute, childlike way to do this. And then I need to do cute little circles. Now these circles will feel like you are making Cheerios. Ah, Cheerios. I dream of Cheerios. I've been on keto for like 2 years. We don't get Cheetos, not Cheetos. Well, I dream of Cheetos too. Cheerios. Cheetos, Cheerios. Same thing. They're all in the dreams. You don't get carbs anymore, so you just dream about carbs. All right, so we're gonna do tiny little loops. All right, so these tiny little loops, I just go round and round and round, kind of let it spin a little bit. And then you can help brace your hand. Yeah, yeah, I know, that's the way I feel. So I kind of brace my hand, keep it steady by pushing the weight of it on my pinky. It acts like a training wheel while I paint. And so I make that first little circle. And these circles, certainly not perfect. You don't have to make them perfect at all. They can be kind of wonky and oblong and almost like little ovals if you need them to. Just very fun. And I'll sprinkle these all around my sky. It's almost like a real fun, stylized, abstract star in the background is, I think, what it reminds me of. And they can certainly vary in shape. You can have some really little, and there's a little baby one. And here we go. All right. Let's do maybe one down here. Okay, very good. I'm eyeballing it because I'm like, I am really out of room for the words "be the light." I got so carried away with all my doodads. So I think I'm going to say joy instead. Joy is going to be the word for the day. So when you are the light, you give joy to everybody you know, and so that's what we're going to do. Now, if you are working at home, what I suggest is that you use a pencil to do your lettering first, and that way you can know that it's good before you start with paint. And I always let everything completely dry, working with pencil, that way you can erase if you need to. So this is going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze even for joy in here, but I'll take my pencil and I'll push it in through here. So that just barely fits. Well, I got really carried away on my doodads. And then I will follow this with my paint once I know I'm happy with where that pencil is. And also, it's a nice way to, depending on how long your phrase is and what you're writing, check your spelling. I have been known to, what was it I did one time? I was teaching a class, and somebody came up and asked me if I would write the word thankful on their painting. And I skipped the step with the pencil, and I was like, I got this, and I just painted it on, and I forgot the K in thankful. Oh no. So guess who had to start over, and I was there quite a while working that out, because then you have to really redo a lot. So learn from my mistake, and as I say, there are no mistakes, only possibilities. So the possibility there is that you learn from my mistake. There it is. All right, so there we go. We have the word joy. That is fantastic. Okay, so another thing you can maybe do if you want, little tiny sketches around this lovely mason jar. That's kind of optional. You don't have to. I don't have it done in the model, but I think I kind of like it. So I'm going to be using my little buddy brush again. I'm going to apply some firm pressure so that I have a nice thin line. And then I want to go ahead and do just a tiny little sketch. All the way around. And then what I'll do sometimes too is I'll actually put this on with some thickness, and then I'll follow back up with a little bit of black too, and then that will give me a nice soft fade to work into. So let me show you what I mean by that. All right, rinse off a little bit, and let's get Mama again. Let's go in with some black. See, my white is still wet, so I need to work quickly here, but I'm going to go ahead and do a quick little overlap, and then that way the black comes in over the top of that white, so there's just a little hint of a sketch, and then a soft fade into the sky. And I might want to rework that. I've just pretty much eliminated the sketch. I'm going to do that one more time. This time I'm going to come in with my Mama brush. Little tiny line of white, super, super tiny. And then we're going to do one final sketch right down the line here. And then we have a curve. So I'm going to take my little bit brush and just soften that out around the curve. Yeah, little bit's about the only one that can do the curve, but I do love Mama on the straightaway. All right. All right, very good. So I think we're done. Yeah, so the only thing you might want through here, let's do one more coat of that green that I talked about. All right, so I'm gonna do some bright yellow green. And then a little bit of the cadmium green. And then you know what? I'm gonna add a little dash of Viridian. That's that beautiful kind of teal green, very pretty. This is going to add a nice little touch into that grass at the bottom. And then I will come back in with my Mama brush here. And let me show you the lineup. I've got these three guys right here. Bright yellow, cadmium green, and Viridian. And I'll just start by pushing in. And you can already see that Viridian and how pretty that is. So we'll take a little sprinkling of that all the way across. That's that vibrant green that I was missing. Really pretty. Now I will push into that cadmium color. See, I wanted a little bit more of that spring green coming across there, and it was looking a little bit too much like a wintry green grass that was dying. It was looking too much like my yard. So I want to give y'all a pretty yard. You don't want a yard that looks like mine. All right, so that's helping. Now let's go into that bright yellow. And then we'll push that all the way through here too. We're getting some nice texture with this as well. All right. And now I think we're good. All right, so we are done. The only thing still remaining is to sign your masterpiece, which I would recommend doing here in this bottom corner. And I'm actually not going to do that just yet because I want my texture to go ahead and set up completely. But here's a couple ways you can sign. You can, of course, always wait for it to set up and dry. It's just so much easier, paint or Sharpie. But Sharpie is a really beautiful, easy way to do it right over the top. But if you are going to do it with a brush, I recommend using your little bit brush and then taking it and going ahead and doing that quick little twist into the paint. That will get it into a nice fine point. And then you can just paint right over the top as well and just sign your name just right there in the corner. And then you are done. Ta-da! You're finished. All right, so thank you again so very much for joining me today. We've had a wonderful time painting. I am also going to be back tomorrow painting as well. I cannot remember what I am painting, but it's in our events. And so I think I've got myself scheduled out almost every single day for the next couple weeks, painting every day with y'all at either 12 or 12:30. So I look forward to seeing y'all again very soon. And then just as a recap, you can find everything on our website to paint with us. We've got traces and templates and paints, and I'll show you what we did here. So we used these guys today. Those are the templates. And then of course we've got, you know, the whole set that comes with it if you need it. So that's all there for you. We make sure that, you know, we've got all the paint that we use here in the class for you at home if you need it. And again, that's just all at tipsyartist.com. So yes, thank you so much for joining us here today. And thank you again, and I will see you tomorrow at 12:30.